As you all know, my name is Michael. I'm the Chief of Police here. We're all going to give a quick introduction of who we are and whatnot. I've been fortunate enough for the last year and a half to be the Chief of Police here. As many of you probably already know, whenever I was actually graced with this position, we were down to 1.5 people at that point. Myself and Sergeant Gibbett were part-time, and thankfully enough, we were able to get Derek to come full-time, and then we hired the other 2 guys here, and we were full staff at that. We've had a lot of changes, obviously, in the last year and a half. You know, as many of y'all know, new Chief Shute and Lieutenant Garner, you know, they've moved on to other things, but obviously myself and Derek are some of their prodigies, if you will. And then, like I said, so we've been very, very fortunate in that aspect. Like I said, myself and Derek covered town for about 3 or 4 months, I guess it was, just me and him. He was still part-time at that point, but he stepped up to the plate largely and helped out cover shifts whenever I wasn't available and so on. So again, I cannot give this man here enough praise. Through the course of all of that, we were able to get Officer McNeil down here on the end and Officer Cohenhauer here hired in. Again, we went through a whole vetting process, and we were fortunate enough to find good quality applicants, and now officers here with us relatively quick. We didn't go for an extended period. We went, I think it's around 3 months or so before we were fully back to staff. And again, these guys right here, they have been a godsend for us as well. And again, I'm gonna let them give their introduction in just a moment, but they both have some sort of experience outside of Foxfire. Like I said, James has got a couple years over Caleb at this point as far as his longevity of his career, and they both check different boxes for our town, okay? Many of y'all probably have seen us all out on the side of the road stopping cars and riding through your neighborhoods. We get out and try to talk and speak with everybody, and that's a huge core foundation for us here. Obviously, we are a small community, and we believe in our community. Community policing is a huge thing here, and we want to instill that, obviously, in our staff, but back to you guys, because you guys are the ones that support us. We do appreciate that. That being said, I'm gonna hand it over to Derek and let him do his introduction, and it'll go from there.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see y'all. Glad y'all could all make it out. As he said, I'm Derek. I just took the sergeant's position about a year ago. I started here part-time under Chief Shute. He gave me an opportunity to come here and work. He brought me in, and I had a full-time job over at Pinewell that I did, and I did the policing in the evening at part-time. I grew to love it even more than I did to begin with, and when things changed and, you know, people kind of went their separate ways, I had the opportunity to come full-time. You know, it was no brainer for me. I wanted to be here. I love this place. I've been here approximately 7 years now. As he stated before, we had a 3, 4, 5 month process there where we kind of had to cover his town, and he, as he said, for me, he stepped up when he got his position, and he moved pieces around and was able to make things where it was viable for me to come full-time, like I said. And it was the greatest decision I've ever made. I've started taking over the investigations and detective positions, so, you know, if there's any break-ins, crime, things like that, you know, I look into it and try to work the case from there, you know. Other than that, you know, it's just like he said, day to day, we're out here. We try to speak with y'all any chance we get. We love talking to the citizens, and we try to stop people from speeding and driving with no seatbelt. But no, like I said, yeah, we love it here. We love our little community, and I'm glad y'all could all show up this evening.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Caleb McNeil. I've been an officer here for about going on a year and a half now. I used to work at Carthage. I still work there, like auxiliary, but I've been here for a year and a half, and I can't tell y'all how blessed I am to just be on this police force and blessed to be serving for y'all. There's just countless things that's happened. There's just so much experiences I've had here, and it's all great. And I can't tell you how blessed I am just to be on this police force. He's the best chief I've ever had, and he's the best sergeant I've ever had, and just the things that y'all don't see behind the scenes that they do. They're always out here for us, always looking for y'all's best interests. And They've just always been there for me, and they're always one call away. And just, I've had so much stuff going on here, you know, out shopping cars, getting drugs, chases, DWIs. You know, we've done a lot. And when I first started here, it was kind of messy. You know, it was like there's not too much. It was just us, them two, and we had to step in. And then I had one of the best FTO experiences I've ever had in my life. He just did a great job training me, and that training I apply it to every day. I always try to get out and talk to y'all, and I see a lot of faces. I've got out and talked to a lot of y'all. If y'all ever need me, I'm only a call away. I try to do the best I can for y'all, and this is why I got police. That's why I got into being a police officer, is that way I can serve y'all. So that's what I'm here for.
It's like really unlucky straw last. Anyways, hey, I'm James. It's nice to meet you guys. I got to give some credit back to the town on this one. I came into law enforcement inadvertently head first. I came into law enforcement in a place where we didn't have the luxuries that you guys have here. My first 2.5, 3 years of law enforcement, I saw the absolute best and the absolute worst that the planet has to offer. And I left there, came here, and folks asked me, why in the world would you want to go there? Because I get into a lot of stuff. And surprisingly, there's enough to get into to keep me busy, but it is slow enough and is nice enough that I can actually relate to the town, can get out and meet people and know faces. There is a lot going on here that does not get seen behind the scenes. There are some things that get overlooked and ignored that haven't in the last year, and it's a big improvement for us. I will say this is a unique place. And when I say when I want to give back a little bit to the town, we have the support from the town here unlike anything I've ever seen. Aberdeen, Southern Pines, Pinehurst even, they do not love their PD like y'all love us, and we appreciate that. It goes a long way because, you know, people, you hear about stuff in the news, you know, defund this and, you know, get rid of the police and all this other kind of stuff, and I can tell you we get absolutely zero of that. We have maybe 2 knuckleheads that we hear from that don't like the police, and that is about it. This is the strangest place, and I explained it to the folks where I used to work back at home. You'd write somebody a citation, you know, well-earned citation where I was from. They were tempted to throw it at you, kick rocks on you when they drove off, etc., etc. Here, you almost feel bad because this, yes, sir, here's your take court dates at the top. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Drive safe. You know, it is certainly different. So from me to you guys, thank you. We appreciate that.
Real quick, we also had 2 reserve officers. They are not here this evening. 2 weeks ago, we actually filled our final reserve position. She comes from the sheriff's office here in Moore County. She has approximately 8 to 9 years of experience. She did a lot of forensic, like, data things over there. Plethora of knowledge, so on and so forth. But again, she didn't want to leave police work in general. She has a great job with the Department of Defense. But again, we all work very hard to get where we are in our police career. So that's one of the things that we never want to let go of. I mean, you'll see or hear about cops. They retire from one place and they go work at another place. It is a true calling, and like I said, with her name is Jamie. She's the same way. She's like, I worked very hard to get where I'm at, and I'd like to hold on to that. So again, we were at, yes sir, Ms. Booty.
Is she auxiliary or
Yes sir,
reserve?
she is reserve.
What's the difference in the two?
Auxiliary and reserve are pretty much the same thing. As far as for Foxfire, and the law enforcement culture is changing in this way, I will say that, but majority of places don't pay their reserves or their auxiliary officers. It's more of a voluntary basis. For example, you know, we require them to work a set amount of hours a year because the town has to carry, you know, workers' comp and various types of insurances and whatnot, and that's an incurred cost of the town. So as a return on our investment, we do ask for them to work a certain amount of hours of the year. And again, it's a very, very small amount of numbers. I think it's somewhere in the realm of about 8 hours a month. It doesn't have to be done, obviously, 8 hours a month. If you want to come in and knock out 2 weeks at a time, we don't have a problem with that. Our big thing is when we need you in a pinch, that's what you're here for. Like I said, so she has a lot of experience doing that side of things as far as like the forensic side. Excuse me. But like I said, she started actually started working on patrol shift this past Sunday, 2 days ago. She come out and rode for a little while to learn our town, to learn our systems that we use as far as our reporting software and our computer aided dispatch. She knows a lot of that stuff, obviously coming from the sheriff's office. They share a similar system. But again, the big thing for us is to know our policy, to know our citizens, and to know our town. Like I said, she's very eager. She was hoping to be here tonight, but she had some family things going on that was kind of already going on, so she couldn't break free from that. That being said, we also have another reserve officer, Michael Badur. You guys may know him. He's been here for many years, but again, he's been in reserve status for that time. Again, he comes out and works, again, his a lot of time a year, and in a pinch when we need him. As for pretty much any of these guys here, like I said, I can't tip my hat enough for them. Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna say, there is some reason why they want to do reserve, right? They need to have X number of hours in a year for something
Yes, ma'am.
else.
So the way it works is for, like I said, law enforcement is, and I'm just gonna use this date. What's the date? Today is October 21st, okay? So if I stop doing this job today, I have 1 year to maintain my certification. After a year mark, I lose my certification. All right, so during that, within the next year, if I can find just a place, for example, this reserve, full-time or part-time, whatever it may be, as long as my name is on the roster, then I get to hold my certification. So like I said, we are doing them a favor by holding their certification, but they're doing us a favor by coming out and working and, you know, serving whatever it may be. And it could be a community event, it could be covering a patrol shift or whatever it may be. So yeah, like I said, we do make the incentive for them. Obviously, we hold their certification. We just ask for them to give us a little bit of a return. Some agencies now are starting to pay their part-times and their reserves. Again, but we also see it like, hey, we're doing you guys as solids, we're asking that you return it to us first. But anywho, like I said, you guys, some of you may know Officer Badur, I don't know if you do or not, but like I said, he's worked several times. Back in April, if I'm not mistaken, we were all in class. And because we were all in class, of course, I called him first and said, I want to put everybody in a class, can you cover? Give me the dates, I'll be there. And he worked a complete week, 12-hour shifts to come in and cover the shifts for us so we were able to go to school together. And like I said, it's a huge thing for us. So during the process of that, like I said, you guys may or may not have seen him, but anytime you see pretty much our spare car, our Explorer out there moving on the streets, it's more than likely going to be a reserve, unless, heaven forbid, one of our patrol cars are down. So, but like I said, with any of our officers, we try to look into it as we want to have the same buy-in from myself to any of these guys to our reserves. We're here to serve you folks because you guys serve us. Obviously, like I said, police is a calling, but like I said, to find a community that is so supportive, like James was saying, is few and far between at this point. Again, that's enough for me preaching about us. I do have a couple talking points I want to touch base with everybody about, and then like we'll open the floor to any type of questions that we have. The first one is, like we always say, let's make sure that we're running a safe neighborhood. Make sure that our cars are locked, any valuables are stored out of sight. That's any time of the day. Make sure our homes are locked. That's a huge thing. As many of you may already know, some of you may not, back in April and May, we had 2 cars broken into at the park. Purses were taken, wallets were taken, such. People walked up, they looked in the window, smashed the window, and they're in and out in about 5 seconds, just like that. And thankfully enough, we were able to catch those folks. A few days later, we were able to, for lack of a better term, put that to bed. But like I said, just that having that computer laying on the seat or a wallet laying in the cup holder, it just opens it up, time of opportunity at that point. So like I said, that's why we try to harp on that. Make sure we're locking our doors to our homes as well as our vehicles. I understand that, you know, we may have lived out here for 30 plus years. We never had a single problem. Knock on wood, we don't have any more problems. But it's, again, it's a crime of opportunity. A lot of these people from other places will come here because this is a quiet, close-knit community. They'll go through and start shaking door handles at night. If they find 2 or 3 cars that are open, they'll still change, computers, whatever it may be. And again, they may take an hour at their time, but possibly pull in a couple $1,000s worth of merchandise if they hit the right cars at the right time. So, the next thing is scams. Has anybody in here ever been subjected to a scam via telephone, internet, anything else?
Every day.
Okay, so that being said, one of our big things that we always see is you'll get a phone call and it'll be, hey, I'm Sergeant Kivett from Foxfire Police Department. You have a warrant for your arrest. We need you to send us $250 right now, and we won't come arrest you.
And gift cards.
Yeah, and gift cards, exactly right.
Amazon or Walmart.
Yes. Anytime the cops ask you for money over the phone, that is a scam. If you can keep them on the phone long enough to get somebody else there to, call one of us, or again, the officer on duty to try to get that worked out, that's fine. If not, delay them, get a good callback number, say, yep, let me go get those Amazon gift cards or whatever it is, and immediately call us. Do not give these folks any banking information. Do not go ahead and give them any cash, whatever it may be. Let's not do that. Like I said, law enforcement officers will never ask for money up front. All right, so again, I just want to touch base with that because we've had some of our citizens unfortunate enough to, oh no, I don't want to get arrested. And next thing you know, they've shipped off, $200, $300, $400, $1,000, whatever it might be, to somebody somewhere that we'll never be able to locate.
I like the one, but the grandmother, they call and say, hi, grandma,
Yep.
Oh,
I
yeah.
Yep.
can repel, yes.
Yep, that's exactly right.
They're in the hospital.
Yeah, that's enough. Yep.
Or they've been arrested.
Yep, they've been arrested, send us some money, and we'll get this record taken off the books. Law enforcement agencies will never ask for money over the phone. Unless it's some sort of charity type thing, you'll hear like the PBA or the Troopers Foundation, hey, would you like to donate? Again, that's all voluntarily. But outside of that, we're never gonna call you and say, we have a warrant for your arrest, you need to give us some money, otherwise we're gonna come see you. I tell you exactly right, that you are 100% correct. Come and get me. Come and get me, and I can guarantee you, nobody's gonna show up at your door. So, next one is emergency situations. We see this all the time. People will have some sort of emergency situation, and instead of calling 911 immediately, they'll either call our desk phone, which like I said, if we have an officer in the office at that point, they'll answer the desk phone, hey, what's going on, so on and so forth. But a lot of times, we're all out there on the road. We're trying to, be out here in your neighborhoods, being seen, we're out here stopping cars, whatever it may be. So there may not be anybody at the office. However, we do have a department cell phone. As many of you all may already have that phone number. That's a direct line to whoever is working at that time. Yep, there it is. So, whoever the officer's working at the time will have that phone on them, but if they're in the middle of something, if they're at the jail, they may not be able to answer it.
I don't have a wife, but I'm married
Yes.
to this thing.
So, that being said, 911 is your quickest for emergency situations. If it's not an emergency, by all means, call that department cell phone, and we will come see you as quick as possible. But like I said, we've had a lot of emergency situations where it's, I called Derek, and Derek called James, and hey, and I'm just going to use a hypothetical here. Hey, my house was broken into yesterday. And they called Derek, and Derek's called James to tell him. Then James ultimately calls the police department and says, hey, my neighbor's house was broken into yesterday. Well, that's not how it goes. Come on in the house, guys. Like I said, 911 is your quickest emergency option. Again, if it's not an emergency, feel free to call the officer on duty. We'll be more than happy to come up.
So when you do call 911, who dispatches? The most close officer in the area may not be you, correct?
Well, no, so, all right, for example, if you call 911, it's our dispatch center in Carthage, okay? They will give us the call via radio.
Oh, okay.
And so those, and again, and I'll use James because he's working tonight. If for some odd reason you have to call 911, they're gonna give him the call. Unless James is busy, either at the jail or at the hospital with somebody, whatever it might be, you're gonna get James tonight. All right. If he is busy, then they're gonna send probably the sheriff's office out. Again, we have a great working relationship with our sheriff's office. But like I said, if James is not busy, they're gonna give James a call, he's gonna come running. All right. Ultimately, that's pretty much all we have is ourselves in the sheriff's office. Obviously, we're in a small community. We normally have a pretty good response time of maybe 2 to 3 minutes for the most part. I can't always guarantee that because, again, if he's at the jail, Carthage is just 20 minutes away. And if he's tied up in the jail with somebody he's already arrested, it may be an hour or two before he can get back down here. So, like I said, that's why it said if it's an emergency, we need to call 911 immediately. Hey, they may call him, how much longer are you going to be? I'm tied up, it's in the sheriff's office. And the deputy will be here within a few minutes, hopefully.
That's nice.
Mr. Craig.
So I heard when the people came in, the door closed, maybe I missed some. So you have a desk phone
In our office, yes, sir.
wherever it is.
Mhm.
After that, it's cell phone, well, 911's the best.
Yes.
So
In
it's a
emergency
desk phone.
situations, yes, sir.
It's a desk phone if somebody's there.
Mhm.
And if it's not there, nobody calls 911, then they get to call you each?
No.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, so for example, obviously, I may be in the office and you call, I'm just gonna use a time. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I may be in the office finalizing some things for the day. My desk phone rings, Foxfire Police. Hey, this is Chris Clariel, I got a problem with X, Y, and Z. Sure, we'll come over and check it out. But if I weren't to be in the office, if I was out here in the field, that phone's gonna ring and ring and ring.
So if it comes at a desk phone, then you, whoever's in there, gets to call the other 3 of you.
Yes,
So the response time, if you're there, is very quick.
yes, yes, the same way with our cell phone. I'll be honest with you, most of the time whenever we give out our agency phone number, which is 295-5959, that is our desk phones in our offices. All right. However, most of the time when we give out our quick information as far as who do I need to call, obviously 911 is our emergencies. 995-0174 is our PD cell phone number. Like I said, the officer on duty will have that phone. All right, and again, we always have that. We encourage everybody to call that because that will be the direct line to pretty much get who is working at that moment.
And if y'all don't have the number, I can give you a call.
Yep, we all have cards that have it on there. We'll be more than happy to go ahead and pass some out while we're at it. Yes, ma'am.
So if there is no officer on duty
Mhm.
and you call that phone number, but there's
Yeah.
no officer on duty, nobody answers?
That's exactly right.
Okay,
And that's why, like I said, you'll have to call either 911 or to the emergency dispatch center. Again, 911 is going to be your best option at that point. Okay. And like I said, in the event that somebody's not here, luckily enough, we have been able over the time to have majority of coverage here in our town. Again, it's not perfect by any means. James, most time out here, it's about 1 in the morning, give or take. So for the hours from about 1 to anywhere from 6, 7, maybe even 8 in the morning, we are uncovered, if you will. Like I said, there's plenty of nights whenever he may work later. There's plenty of nights that me and Derek have come out at 1 in the morning to cover some shifts. And so we'll work from 1 in the morning to 9 in the morning just to make sure that we do have somebody around. I'll be honest with you, it's not like that every night. But we do try to do that to, one, switch things up for ourselves, for the community. If we're targeting any type of criminal activity, we'll come out for that sort of stuff. But like I said, there's been plenty of times where he'll call me at 7:30 in the morning. Hey buddy, just, what you got going on this morning? Dude, I've been here at work since 5 o'clock. And he's like, okay. So like I said, just in an attempt to alleviate as much time as that we don't have here. That's why we typically switch things up. I try to keep them guys right there on a pretty steady schedule obviously for their family lives, because that's an important thing for all of us. Our families are number one, just like your families are number one. Like I said, like James just said, he's not married, thankfully enough. He doesn't have that responsibility of having somebody at home that he has to look after. Caleb, on the other hand, and again, not to put his business out there, Caleb is married, he has children, and so we're all, I'm sure the majority of us in here have families and children. We understand the threshold that takes at times.
we have grandchildren.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so, but he may call me tomorrow, and I'm just gonna use the time. Hey buddy, I'm gonna be an hour late to work. Okay, what's going on? Babysitter's sick. I have to find somebody else, whatever it is. Not a problem. We will work with you about that. He can make up his hours, whatever it is. And we have no problem with that, because like I said, we are a cohesive unit. We will be more than happy to backfill. Derek backfilled this weekend, I backfilled this weekend, because again, we all have vacation and hours and stuff that we take.
I'm on hours for Friday.
No, you have no hours. But like I said, 911 is our emergency number, obviously, for any emergency we see. Hey, if there's weird stuff going on down the road, and it's call 911. Okay? That's what it's there for. That's what you guys all pay your 911 tax for, and that's what's important.
I was just gonna say something, plus also when you call 911, they have multiple people, they can start calling other agencies as well. If something bad, just say someone's having trouble breathing, okay? If you call the cell phone, well, we might get there in 2 minutes, but then we have to let them know that we need a paramedic. they're already doing that. They're already had the fires on the way, the paramedics are on the way, we're all coming at one time. So, yeah, just to reiterate, if it's an emergency, call 911.
There's another part of that too, especially for med calls. They have an EMD system. It's an emergency medical dispatch system. It's very, very, very specific. It dictates a lot of things. There's a lot of protocols that go in with that. So calling the PD cell phone and telling us, hey, Susie fell out, I don't know what happened. Our first thought's gonna be, oh my God, you killed her. So, it's not good, right? So, when you call 911, right, they're gonna ask you a specific set of questions that's gonna dispatch that call out appropriately. It's also gonna give you the appropriate response. So it affects the whole community, right? So, if you tell me, hey, Susie fell out on the floor, the first thing I'm gonna do is jump in my car, cut the blue lights on, and be there. I may run 10 people off the road getting to you. It creates a dangerous situation, emergency response. Well, what actually happened is Susie's been sleeping 30 minutes longer than she normally does, so the dispatch stuff would have actually kind of missed that emergency response. You would have been able to answer enough questions to make it safer for the community too.
Right. Mr. Kramer?
Are you all trained in CPR and EMT capability?
We are all CPR certified, yes.
CPR, first aid, and AED.
Yes. Yep. And so, like I said, we all have that. Thankfully enough, we've had to use it a time or two, but not a whole lot. Again, this is being thankful for that, but we all have our CPR cards.
Because you will be probably the first people there.
There's some times that we are. There's other times where either we're busy or we don't get the call. It might be a few minutes later than other people. But a lot of times that we are the first on scene. You know, there's been, and again, that's not to take anything away from anybody, but if we get that call, then it's like, hey, no matter who it is, what it is, we're coming. We will help you out to the absolute fullest until people who are a lot more trained and better equipped can get there to give whatever life-saving efforts it may be. Yes, ma'am.
Also, if you call 911, make sure you tell them if it's an emergency or not.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's it.
Yeah.
That is important as well.
I did that quite a few times.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of times they'll ask that, and like I said, like James was mentioning through the EMD system, once they start getting that call information,
Right.
like I said, there's numerous people that are listening to the call. So, given his scenario here, oh, Susie's on the floor. Well, why is Susie on the floor? Well, she fell down, she bumped her head, she's bleeding all over the place. Okay, that's going to start hitting a lot more bells and buzzers, and people are starting to fire on all cylinders. Susie's on the floor, but why is she on the floor? Well, she took a nap. Okay, well, hold on, time out. So Susie's just tired. So therefore, all the other buzzers aren't going off at that point. And like I said, there's been many times we have a lot of elderly folk in our community, and during all that, like I said, we took a fall call just the other day. They come in on the department cell phone, and it was third party. So this person called that person called us. Instead of just calling it straight to us. Anyway, so we go over there. She had just fallen, she just couldn't get up. We went and helped her up. Hey, you can go ahead and cancel fire and EMS. There's no reason for them to continue on. They can go give their efforts to whatever else is needed. We are here as a collective unit to help everybody, to include fire EMS. So like I said, that's our stance on things. Next thing is, we have the holidays coming up. What do we all do at the holidays? We all go shopping, correct? Sometimes it's online, right? UPS and FedEx and the Postal Service and Amazon, they're always dropping packages at our houses, whether it be in the mailbox, at the door, whatever it may be. A lot of times packages, people ride around at holiday times, and what do? Oh, there's a pretty little package. It could be nothing. It could be a sugar bowl that you bought for whoever. Oh no, I'm gonna take that and see what it is.
Yeah.
Just because it could be a laptop. It could be something of real value. It could be socks. You know, let's face it, we all get socks for Christmas. I love them. But either way, people are going to take that stuff. And well, then we're having to do reports and investigations because that is still a theft. So we always tell folks, if we're going to have packages delivered, just make sure either you're going to be home, maybe your neighbor's seen it, they can collect it, whatever it may be. Obviously, those are ideal situations. That's not always going to be the end-all, be-all. I'm horrible. I'll order Amazon today. I'll be at work all day tomorrow, and I get home, and it may or may not be sitting on my front porch. I hope it is, right? But if it's not, then I'm calling Amazon. Hey guys, where to get my package? That's on me though. That's not on Amazon because I wasn't there to collect it. Like I said, we put that down because we see a large uptick at the holidays. When I say we, I mean law enforcement in general, not just us here. But law enforcement in general sees that uptick in thefts. Again, crimes of opportunity, okay? We always try to push this. Obviously, it aids us in our investigations and things of the sort, but surveillance cameras on our houses, whether it be a Ring doorbell camera, or we have cameras posted all around our homes. Obviously, nobody wants Big Brother watching us. I know I don't. I have cameras on my home, and I absolutely hate them, but they're there for a reason. All right? I always tell folks that because, again, in the event of, hey, somebody come and broke into my house at between 10 o'clock last night when I parked my car and 7 o'clock this morning when I walked out, that's 9 hours of time that we have to go and figure out where it's at. What time did this crime occur? Well, if we have cameras out there, we can see, oh, James come over here at 3 in the morning and he went in my car and took my stuff. Well, now we have a suspect, we have a time, we can kind of start dialing that stuff in. Also, it helps you guys out for liability purposes. Let's just look at it like that as well. We have a lot of folks out here walking all the time. Well, again, we're all walking in the edge of the street. We all do it. I know I do it. But, oh, I got to step off the road because a car's coming. There might be a little pothole or something like that, and they twist their ankle. Oh, well, now you were in the hot seat as a homeowner. And it's kind of ridiculous. But let's face it, that's the world that we're in now. And so, like I said, we try to tell folks that because we want to be mindful of what we have going on in our homes. We have to look out for ourselves. Okay? Last one here. Please notify the police of any type of unusual activities. We don't care what it is. If you feel, hey man, that car's been sitting on the road for about 20 minutes, just sitting there on the side of the road, we've never seen it before in the world. It could be the cable man writing up an invoice or something. We don't know. Call us. We will come out and we will check out whatever it is. Hey, what you doing out here? Man, I'm just writing an invoice for cable. Got it. At least that way we can notate it. We saw this truck, this tag, this date and time, we spoke with this person. Problem solved. But a lot of times those anonymous tips and those suspicious things solve a lot of crimes. That being said is, obviously we don't want it to come to that by no means. But always be vigilant, always be neighborly. Look out for one another, because that is the most important thing. Do you guys have any questions about anything currently? Mr. Moody?
Back to the security cameras,
Yes,
Ring
sir.
doorbell, whatnot like
Mm-hmm.
that. Can you make any recommendations to us, as ease of use and
Ring.
what's the easiest thing for you to go through to?
There's various different systems. I mean, and again, I'm gonna use Amazon because everybody in the world uses Amazon at this point. It becomes a lifeline for us. I mean, let's just face it like that. There's a million different systems on there.
I know, that's my issue.
I'm getting there. However, some of the easier ones that we have observed and seen is Ring. Obviously, they make all the little cameras and whatnot. Blink, or obviously some subscription fees and whatnot are involved in some of that stuff. That's what I personally have outside of my home is Blink. Wise, I think it is, WYZE. They're very good cameras. They're amazing as far as having to go back and dig through them. There's again a ton of different other options that we go through. But like I said, those are kind of the big three that we always kind of see and we like because the user interface is amazing to us. Ma'am.
So we're on our third set of different cameras, and Ring has been the most successful. We haven't had any problems with it.
Okay.
It takes great pictures at night.
Mm-hmm.
It has 24/7 coverage,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you sign up for
Right.
that. But out of the three and Blink was one of them, never recorded, the Rings have been very good.
Okay.
There you go.
And again, that's first-hand knowledge there. Like I said, I have the Blinks on my house. Me personally, I've never had any negative issue with them. But again, Andy, you're a Corvette man. You love your Corvettes, right? So if I say, hey Andy, go buy you a Mustang, you're gonna say, no, that ain't gonna work, bud. Again, it's all about your personal preference. We all have a budget we have to work with. We all have to see, well, this right here is gonna be easier for me to deal with, obviously financially or whatever it may be. As well as, like I said, the interface. If you want a big clunky thing you gotta deal with, that's your business. You could be a real techie person, I don't know, but for me, simplicity is the key for everything, for myself personally.
I have to agree with her because we got Ring when we first moved in, didn't know anything about it.
Mhm.
But my husband's into natural wildlife and he's a sportsman and stuff, so he put one in our woods for multiple reasons I won't bring up. But, we see wildlife that you would not believe
Right.
back
The
there.
Ring.
And they take great pictures and video.
Yeah.
And the kids love it every morning. What did we get in the backyard last night? You know, so, and it's easy to do and look at, so.
Yep, see, so we got another one for here for rain, you know. So like I said, there's a ton of different options, and, you know, I can't put one over the other because, again, I work with whatever I have. Like I said, but there are a ton, I think that, Derek, you got Wise, correct? Is it?
Wise.
Yep, so Derek's got Wise,
I got one.
Caleb's got Wise on his house. I've seen their stuff, very, very clear cameras, very.
There's
very
two guys that can help me with Wise and one guy that can help me with rings.
Yeah, well, if they can help you with the ring, I'll help you with the
Yeah,
wing.
ring.
Yeah. But that being said, it's like I
Wasn't
said.
me, it was
Yeah.
Rob.
Again, there's a ton of different preferences out there in the world, but again, we always just encourage that stuff because, like I said, it watches out for you in your home. That's the most important thing.
I've also seen where the Ring doorbell cameras specifically have dispelled things, right? I had an Amazon package shipped, says it got here at 2:38 p.m. and it's not here, somebody stole it. And they want the police to take a report for it and list it stolen and have us look for it. The neighbor got it, the Amazon guy, he gave it to the neighbor
To the wrong
accidentally.
house. Yeah.
It's helped us tremendously in that aspect because now we don't have to file a felony report, you know, investigate it fully.
Yep.
Usually it can be figured out pretty quickly. Hey, we'll go back, look at your Ring doorbell camera at 2:38 and clearly nobody walked up on the porch,
Well,
so.
you can get alerts, like, we had somebody come and, insecticide our lawn. We don't use insecticide on our lawn.
You do now.
So I'm freaked out, you know, cause we got animals and kids and stuff,
Right.
and so I'm like, you know, I saw the little patch on his shirt, so I called the company and asked, you know, what are the guys doing in our yard? We don't pay you, why were you there?
Right.
Well, they meant to go to the house next to us. And they figured it out later, but didn't tell us. But if we didn't have that, you know, if we walked up and we, you know, whatever, but we were able to figure it out without calling you.
Yeah.
You know,
And-
like, somebody's in our yard, why are they there?
That's
But,
right.
You know,
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
And
you were able
again,
to
like,
figure it out.
like James saying, it dispels a lot of things.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got a free yard treatment out of that, whether you want it or not, you got it. So, again, you know, sometimes they're short wins, but yes.
But it's really good to have he was talking about the break-ins earlier. Himself and me, we went out and we tracked all the way through town around out to from Hoffman to 11 where the car went.
Just based off of
Wow.
cameras
Just based off
in
cameras.
our area.
that's cool.
Cameras that you don't think is catching things.
Yep.
Yeah, we
They
have one
still
straight
are.
out of our driveway, so you
Yep,
can see from
that's
us.
exactly right.
That's cool.
But being able to track some stuff, especially in some of our neighborhoods, I mean, we all live in some cul-de-sacs and
dark.
various things like that. I was at this house at this time and then past this house, and again, if we're tracking just via camera, oh, they took a right here, so let's go down here to
Oh,
the
that's
street.
actually cool.
So like I said, we were able to track that like he was saying, and we ultimately tracked them all the way back to Taylortown. I mean,
Wow.
Folks,
via cameras, you know, I mean, yeah. So
They
it worked very, very nice.
get expensive things shipped to them, right? Like, I know one instance I had a laptop, a guy over here had a laptop come up missing and ended up going to the wrong place. I can tell you the last person that wants to be responsible for it is Amazon or Walmart or whoever that's sending it to you. When that guy walks up and he takes a picture of a box on a porch, that's their proof of delivery. Whether it's your house or not,
It was delivered.
they're gonna say it's delivered.
Yeah, they delivered my brand new computer
Oh.
to my neighbor.
Yeah,
There you go.
I was gonna comment on delivery people.
yes, sir.
I've had FedEx at my house so many times in the last 5 years, I think I've adopted the man.
Probably so, probably so.
And so, we know each other.
Leaving snacks on the front porch would
That's
be
right.
good. Yeah,
You get a little concerned when it's somebody you don't recognize.
yeah. Where's Sam today? I'll
And
get
it
a call.
comes not in a
Yeah.
FedEx truck, but a white box truck.
Yep. Yeah,
that
you're
sounds
exactly
good.
right. But again, that's about being vigilant or vigilant in our neighborhood. Because, wait a second, this is not our normal driver, or that's not our normal truck that's on our neighborhood. What's going on? Because a lot of times they'll have the stickers on the side of the truck for contracting for Amazon or FedEx, especially with the holidays coming up. I don't know these people. I don't know this truck. This is not my normal driver. But what's going on?
And sometimes they'll use like rental trucks too.
Yep.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Like I
a guy
said,
might walk up with a package in his hand,
That'd be
there's a
good.
package on the porch, he puts one down, picks both up.
right? So, but like I said, that's part of us, again, being neighborly, knowing what's going on in our neighborhoods. We all can walk around with blinders on if we want to, but it doesn't help ourselves or one another in the long run, because what's gonna happen? Eventually, whatever we've turned a blind eye to will come back to us. I mean, it is what it is, that's just the way it all works. So, again, crimes of opportunity.
Just for everybody's information, last Friday I had an expensive package that was gonna be delivered by FedEx. Requires signature. I was gonna be gone all day, so I knew that I couldn't be there. So I had them change the drop-off location to Walgreens there at Harris Teeter. And I tell you what, that worked like a breeze.
Yep, because it's a secure facility. Nobody else is gonna get it until you go in there and say, here, I'm Andy Moody, here's my driver's license, and here I am to sign it. Again, it's a great thing. Obviously, it takes some of the convenience out of it. Obviously, it doesn't deliver it straight to our door, but the safety and security is there.
I'd like to add something back to an earlier point that was made, and it has to do with vehicle break-ins and B&Es in general. Preserving evidence is a big thing for us. Cameras help with this. If you saw somebody go into your car on your camera, don't touch it, call us.
Yep.
Because then you've got preserved evidence, you've got fingerprints, you've got DNA, hair samples. Any felony crime in North Carolina, the SBI lab will accept evidence for it, be it DNA, fingerprints, anything like that. Misdemeanor crimes, unfortunately, they will not. Every felony crime they will. A vehicle breaking and entering is a felony crime, period. So anytime somebody, even if they just go in there and take your wallet, breaking and entering a motor vehicle, period, is a felony. So if somebody comes in your yard, they break in your car, if you didn't get it on camera, the moment you realize, hey, something ain't right here,
Stop.
stop.
Yep.
That's
back
exactly
away
the
and
time
call
to stop.
somebody.
And I'm gonna guess the same thing for a house.
Same
Yep,
thing for the
that's
house.
exactly right.
Exactly
Unless
right.
you leave the body in the living room.
Please
That
call
takes
us.
the- It's pretty much cut and dry.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Give us a ring on that one.
We'll get to you when we get to you.
That might be something. you
Yes,
wanna
ma'am.
Is there a spot in town, if you're selling something online, and
Mhm.
you don't want to give them your address? Can you give the police department address, or is there a spot in town?
Do you mean to like meet somebody to sell them? Yes.
Safety meeting.
Anytime you wanna meet them outside of our police department, by all means. Anytime, if you feel like you're like, hey, this might be a little bit weird, again, call the officer on duty. Can you mind just hanging out over here in the parking lot until we finish this right here up? Another good place is, if you feel comfortable with that, is at a general store. And I tell you that because the general store has amazing cameras on it.
Fantastic cameras.
They are great, great cameras. I don't know how much money they've spent, but I'm sure they spent a
But
pretty
it's
penny
not
on
on
it.
their
Not
driveway.
enough on the parking lot. But
Well, but that being said, the cameras that they have up currently, they reach a good ways out. And like I said, if you can just, hey, I'll meet you at the general store, or again at our PD, wherever you feel comfortable. But again, we highly suggest don't have anybody come to your house. You know, again, because our safety and security, a lot of people are like, and again, I'm just going to use an item. Oh, I'm selling a bed. All right, here's bed and bed frame, whatever, $100. All right, cool. I'm gonna come in there and get this bed and bed frame from your house, but the whole time I'm watching, I'm looking around. What can I come steal tomorrow?
Right.
They're scouting.
True.
You know, they're doing things like that. So you don't want to open yourself for any type of opportunity. If you meet in a neutral location, all right, see you later. Here's the bed frame. Here's the $100. See you later. Goodbye. They get in their car and leave. You get in your car and leave. We are a lot smarter and a lot safer at that point. So like,
I wanna bring something up that happened to us, but we didn't call you.
Ms. Bunch, y'all got to get it together.
So we had two properties, one that was being built next to us, and one that was vacant for a long time before it sold. And we would have golfers drive up in that, cause the sign's up for sale. And we had one where there was a marital or girlfriend, boyfriend altercation that was really bad. And before I could get to the point of calling, they left. My dog was like, you know, like, and I had to figure out what it was about. And I could hear him saying, you know, terrible things to her and her crying. And but by the time I was gonna do anything, they were sped off on a golf cart. I don't know where they went, I don't know
Right.
who they are. And then the house next to me, before, took 2 years to get done, they had contractors that were in and out of there all the time. They would go into the garage and wash their car, they would sleep in the car, they'd have kids in the car.
Yeah, that's a big no-no.
Yeah, but I didn't know what rights I had to, like, is this family, friends, I didn't wanna
Right.
make problems, you know what I'm saying?
Anytime you're ever in question, just give us a call.
Call.
You let us come by and
Okay.
we'll figure out whatever it is. It could be, hey, I'm actually the homeowner and I'm having this built and the contractor's gonna be here in an hour and I worked all night. I'm gonna take a little nap in my own garage
Yeah.
and I'm building.
It was a little scary
No
just because
problem.
I was home alone,
Right.
and
No,
I don't know
by all
what these
means.
people are doing.
But
you know
that,
what I'm
again, that's what
saying?
we are here for.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's on us at that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
We will come over and we'll figure out who they are. Hey, I'm Sam Smith and this is my house, I'm building it. Okay, Sam, well, let me get some information. That way, if they are something nefarious, then
Yeah.
we've got it documented that this date and time Sam was here doing X, Y, and Z. So like I said, when in doubt, just give us a shout. Anybody else?
I'll throw out a funny story, and actually this just goes to the good of the general store. We had an incident. General store called us about an individual that had come in and not paid for 2 hot dogs. Man ordered them. Well, during the course of the investigation, their cameras were good enough that we actually uncovered that we knew this person. We knew they had a revoked driver's license. We knew that they were operating a vehicle on Hoffman Road. We actually uncovered that the cameras inside the store were good enough to pick up that they had pocketed a Big Mama pickled sausage. Specifically.
Grab it,
But
look at it.
we could make out exactly which one it
That's
was.
funny.
The store completely missed it. They knew nothing of it.
Wow.
But when it come down to investigating it, we found out that there was actually 2 larcenies that occurred, and they were operating a vehicle illegally. They got immediately charged and immediately hauled to Carthage.
Wow, should just pay it
All
off.
for a couple $100.
Yep.
$4.19.
There you
Saved a
go.
lot of trouble.
That's a lot of money.
Just because of the cameras.
Yep.
That's cool that the cameras are good enough.
Like I said, they have amazing cameras in
They
there.
do.
Yeah, like I said, it's wild to see some of the stuff that you can pick out on their cameras. So, like I said, they, in that sense, like I said, but they've got it together now. Anybody else?
The only thing I would like to say, I don't know if y'all know it or not, but he stays up a lot of extra hours worried about y'all. He's a good chief, yeah, I've met a lot, and he's a good chief. So if y'all ever do have any questions, don't wait for this meeting. If you see us, them guys are the same way too, you never met a stranger, feel free to come in and talk. You don't have to wait for this meeting. If you have any question, whether it's, on a felony or, hey, I'm gonna be out of town this weekend, can somebody watch my house? Just come on by and talk to us. We have open doors.
One of the forums.
All the residence checks, yes, you're correct. Thank you very much for that, Janet. As many of you already know, maybe some of you don't, but we do residence checks as well. So anytime that you guys are gonna be on vacation, it doesn't make a difference if it's a day, a month, or a year. Fill out a residence check form. There's some out here in the lobby. They are online as well. If you go online to the town website, it's on there. It's like, it just says like residence check or out of town form, something to that effect. Click that. You can fill it out online and you can email it to us as well. Or you can print it out if you want to and bring it by the office. We have a little drop box that's right to the left of our door. You slide it in the slot. We always check it. All right, hey, Chris Craigle's gonna be out of town for, a month on this date and this time. Here's what he's requesting. And again, when we come through and check your houses, now I will tell you this, and Janet, you can attest to this.
I can.
Any time that we check your house, we are checking your house. We're not just, all right, yep, the house is still standing. No. We're getting out of the car, we're walking around, we're shaking door handles, we're touching windows, various things like that. And I use Janet for this reason. This has been probably 2 years ago at this point. I was out here working one night, checking the house, I found an open door. I immediately called Janet. I'm like, hey, because again, she lists her information on the check
Leave your
form.
phone number with
Yeah.
the sheet.
She left the information. I'm like, hey, we have an open door. Oh, well, and again, I don't even remember what happened at that
I
point.
said, go in and check.
Yeah, and obviously, we're going to do that anyways. I'm just gonna be upfront, honest with everybody. If we find an open door, we're going into that house, okay? So, that being said, let's make sure all the bodies are hidden, any drugs are stored, whatever it is. Like I said, but we're gonna go, obviously we're not in there for that purpose. But, like I said, we're gonna go in there and check it out, and make sure obviously nobody's in there that's not supposed to be in there. make sure everything's intact and in order, so on.
Well,
And that
that's
way-
why I
No
promote
judging.
this
Yes.
all the time, because it does work, it's happened to me.
Yep.
So I always tell people, fill out that form,
Mm-hmm.
because you may think you locked that side door,
Yep.
and you didn't.
Yep.
Talking about residence checks.
Yep.
Yep.
Like I said, but when we do our residence checks, like I said, a lot of folks just, no, I just ride by the house, make sure everything's fine.
No, they don't do
Well,
it.
us riding by the house, making sure everything's fine, like I said, we're getting out, we're checking the door handles.
I'm checking the door handles, I'm looking inside,
Yep.
so like, there's been many times where people leave lights on. I'm looking inside to see if anything might be out of the ordinary, so like say, this light was on yesterday at this time, and I come back and it's not on. Or the other way around, it's on today. I had a situation the other day where somebody filled out a residence check, and they said that they were gonna be gone, but they weren't gone. So, I get up to the house, I can like see lights are on, I can hear like a washing machine going, and I'm like,
They tackled
They tackled him.
anyways, I go to the back of the house and I see somebody sitting on the couch, and I'm like,
Being himself at home.
so I was like, if a criminal's gonna break in the house and do their laundry, maybe they'll answer the door. So,
Take the police now.
they just,
That's exactly right.
they didn't, they didn't leave early enough, so.
Safety checks.
Yep.
That's
Like-
part of it.
Well, no.
What do you
Like
mean by your safety
my
check?
husband's mom, she didn't answer for like
Like a
2
welfare
days.
check?
Oh,
Yeah.
welfare.
Yeah, we do those all the time.
You do
them all.
Okay.
If you have some sort of issue or concern,
Okay.
by all means, pick up the phone and say, hey, go by this address.
Okay.
This is, Sam's house. Can you just check on him? We will knock on that door, so I know tomorrow, we'll check everything. Obviously, there's times when we can make forcible entry. We don't want to do that. But there have been situations where we've had to do that before. We don't wanna get to that, obviously. But, I mean,
I did a welfare check.
yep.
They called me to go check on this man, and I couldn't really hear anything, so I went around to the back of the house, and I looked inside of his window. I could see him on the floor, and I started talking to him, and he was yelling, "Help! Help! Help!" And he allowed me to break in. I had to kick his door in and come and render aid to him, and we actually got help for him. So.
Good.
Like I said, so we do those all the time.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you, excuse me, do you check the freezers?
The freezers?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. We might check your baked goods, but that's about it.
You got brownies or something.
We don't,
Freezer in my big good freezer.
yeah, like I said, no, again, when we go in the house, we're just make sure, obviously, no bad people are in there. Make sure everything is still standing in a proper order. We're gonna give you a phone call to say, hey, here's this, here's that. Oh, I may have, again, left the side door open, or, oh, well, my dog walker was there earlier to pick up my dog, and they must not have locked the door. Things happen. And again, we understand that, but again, that's why we do these residence checks, to try to obviously quell the things for you, but until it quells things for us. Because if you come home in a week from now, hey, my house was broken into on Thursday and I left on Monday, now we have more issues that we gotta go take care of. So we don't wanna have to get that, obviously. A little bit of proactive stuff on our end, so we don't have to be reactive on the back end.
Couple of safety tips for folks when you are going out of town.
They don't check.
There's a few things you can do to really, really benefit you. Don't make your house appear to be an easy target. Everybody lives on social media now, to include the folks in the village. A lot of people do. He's shaking his head. We know you don't like it. Anyway, so specifically speaking, right, if you're planning to go to the Bahamas this week, don't post, say, hey, I'm going to the Bahamas this week, I'll see y'all later. Common sense goes a long way with that, because a lot of people can see Facebook, and a lot of bad people are on Facebook. You don't see them see your things. So what happens is they go, oh, Chris Craigle's going to Bahamas this week. Oh, he lives in Foxfire, there's a lot of money out there.
Party at his house.
Man, I bet they got nice stuff. They probably got a jewelry box or something, and they ride by, and when they pull up, what do they see? A black house in the middle of the night with no lights on, no car in the driveway, and they go, oh, sure enough, he's in the Bahamas. What are they gonna do at that point? Right? So keep some lights on, right? Keep a couple, I know it costs a couple dollars, but keep a couple lights on, make the house look occupied if you can. That is a big one. If you've got 2 cars and you can put one in the driveway, maybe so, right?
I hope they take that car.
They don't even leave it out on purpose.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a lot of break-ins here? to
No, we don't.
houses?
Thankfully enough, we do not. I think the last actual home B&E that we dealt with was in 22.
Yeah.
And thankfully enough, we caught the guy in the house. And like I said, we caught the guy in the house, and he gave us a whole spiel. And honestly, I'll give him that. He was very clever. He had a fake lease for the home.
Ooh, that's,
To anybody looking at it, again, I was a responding officer. I looked at it and I was like, all right, the paper looks good, blah, 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 blah. Something didn't seem quite right. Well, I happened to run the tag on the car. The car was stolen out of South Carolina. And again, some of y'all may have seen it sitting up here. That car's still in our custody because nobody will come get it. But I caught the guy at that point, and I was like, hey, bud, okay, well, you're here lawfully because we had a fake lease at that point. He had a fake power bill for that house.
Oh, wow.
why did that?
It was a pro.
He made them. He made them, exactly. You're 100% correct. He knew what he was
Squatters are
doing.
really good.
Yep. And whenever I caught him, he was in the back room of the house. The house was vacant, fully furnished and everything else. The folks that were in the home, they had sent one of them, I believe, had passed. The other one was in a care facility. And the home was actually under foreclosure through the courthouse. He went up there and found the registry, made up a fake lease and a fake power bill. Oh, look, this is now my house. I'm renting it. I caught him in the back bedroom. He found the jewelry box and he was prying it open with a meat fork whenever we got there. So again, he got arrested for obviously the breaking and entering the home and various things, a stolen vehicle and some other stuff. He had some guns in the car. He was a felon. That was the last one we had. All right. So I use that. Thankfully enough, like I said, that was 3 years ago now. It's actually almost 3 years ago to the date now.
Almost.
Yeah. But that being said, is thankfully we don't have a lot of those, but we don't want to have a lot of those, right?
Right.
So keep a watch out for each other. Keep a watch on your own homes. Make sure everything's locked up. Pretty
What do we have the most of?
traffic stuff.
But I mean,
obviously,
like breaking into cars or?
We knock on wood. We've had 2 of those this year. That's 2 too many. Okay, but that's a very, very small number considering. One morning, not too long ago, Pinehurst got hit for 7 in one morning.
Wow.
There's been times in the past, and again, I've come from a larger agency before I come out here, we'd get hit for 20 of them in the night. And if you work that zone, you're taking 20 reports at 8 in the morning, just one after another.
Yes.
This was taken, that was taken, that's what I'm saying. We make sure we lock our doors, because again, they're going through shaking handles.
What's the increase of our population since you built up the guys and the nice young lady that's.
Our town is, I'm sorry, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Because you were 2 and now you're
Yes.
this many.
So when I started here, we had 4 full-time officers, 1 part-time officer, and 2 reserve officers. All right, so essentially, we were sitting on 7 people. Again, Derek was a part-time guy. So that was kind of our staffing. Again, when Chad left, he was our former chief. I don't know if you had the pleasure of meeting him or not, but he retired. And then a short time later, our Lieutenant Gary left. Then a few weeks later, Chris, our last officer that was here, he left. He went to Pinehurst. So everybody's moving on to greener pastures, if you will. Well, again, so it was pretty much, it was just me and Derek. And so we were like, obviously we had our staffing levels we have to get to. That is our current. That's our important thing. As far as our population, it has changed some, not a ton. Obviously we've had homes built and people have moved into those. I can't put an exact number on it, but
So it
it's
hasn't increased exponentially.
not exponentially, no. it
Couple
hasn't.
hundred,
What?
Yeah.
couple hundred.
Yeah. Over the course of the last 3 years.
I just wondering if you guys are enough for the population growth, is what I was trying to.
I'm just gonna.
You're enough, I don't mean that, but.
No, I get exactly what you're saying. I'm gonna openly say it like this. I do feel like we should have some more, okay? But we also understand that we are also under constraints as far as our budgets.
Sure.
Okay, and again, we do the best that we can with what we do have. We have very, very nice equipment. We have nice guys working. Obviously, we have a nice gal working too. But again, they are outfitted with pretty much everything that's new and up to date for the most part. There's some things that are always a constantly evolving thing, but we do have enough, if you will, to sustain our work. But as obviously our population grows, our call volume grows, our activity grows. Not to brag or anything like that. And this year alone, and again, we're not all the way through the year. We got another 2 months to go. We have 14,000 events for the month, or for the year that's been listed, okay?
Wow.
And that's traffic stops, that's our residence checks we're speaking of, that's our true crimes of B&Es or whatever it is, that's everything encompassed. Whenever I say that, again, our store closing, we do store closing every night. That's one of our events that we log. That's 365 of our events right there. All right, and again, there might be some things that are kind of falls through the crack. Hey, I didn't list my store closing tonight, or you know, I may not have listed all my citations I wrote on this last stop or whatever. But that's a pretty fair and accurate number. I say that because in 2023 we run a little over 10,000 events. Last year, again, we were half staff for a good part of the year, as well as once these guys started, they had to go through a field training program. So I'll say Derek and Caleb, they buddied up. Derek started training him. After some short time, Caleb come to me for a few weeks, and he went back to Derek to finish up his training. It was about a 12-week program. So that's 3 months right there that they weren't out actually running calls. They were doing their work, but they were together. So again, our numbers were a lot dwindled in that sense, but we still ran a little over 10,000 events last year. This year, like I said, we're at 14,000. And like I said, there's a lot of things that are kind of repetitive, if you will. Again, we do all of our premise checks for our town buildings every single day. When I say town buildings, I mean any town property, any of our well sites. Because again, as we all know, our water is something that's very important here, correct? Because we only have a little amount of it. So we have to make sure our safety of our water is taken care of. So again, that's one of our premise checks that we do every single day. So like I said, that goes back into our events. But like I said, as that number grows, eventually we will have to grow with it. And like I said, I hopefully one day that we're able to start rising that number as far as our staffing levels. But like I said, it's an ever-growing thing, and we will eventually get there. It's just going to take some time. Buddy.
Does any,
Got something?
Would you go over, because this is very different than Illinois, I think a lot of people don't understand when the officers write tickets, speeding tickets, etc., and there is a fine attached to that, okay? And I'm gonna give the example so people understand where I'm coming from. In Illinois, if a police officer writes a speeding ticket, and let's say the speeding ticket is $100, the village or town or city, whatever that officer reports to, gets 75% of the dollar amount of that ticket to that village, city, town.
Right. Wow.
It's extremely different in North Carolina.
Exponentially different.
So will you explain to people how that works here in North Carolina? Because I think some people are under the impression that the village gets money from those tickets that you write. So please explain to people how that works.
So the way that there works is, for example, I'm just going to use a broad number here. On average, we are writing 175 to 180 tickets a month. That's collectively amongst us four. And like I said, it's any type of citation. It could be speeding, it could be registration violations, a headlight, whatever it is. Once, and I'm just going to use a broad number at this point of 100 just to keep numbers nice and pretty. So out of those 100 tickets that were written, once they go to court, and it might be a month from now, it might be 6 months from now, it depends on what the court wants to do with that. Once it goes to court, and I'm just going to use a speeding ticket, and I'll say Janet.
Don't blame me.
Oh, well, don't speak.
Wouldn't be the first one.
Yeah.
I know.
So,
No, I never got
say
one.
for example that Janet was given a speeding ticket, and again, Hoffman Road, she was doing 53 and 40 mile per hour zone. It goes to court. If they dismiss that ticket, so again, hey, look, things happen, we're going to just dismiss it and it's done. We get nothing for that. Absolutely zero. If that case is fully tried and she's found to be guilty or whatever, we get a small amount. Now, when I say a small amount, I don't know the exact fines that are associated with it. I think it's somewhere in the realm of $213, something to that effect.
Like a seatbelt's $193.
Okay, so $193 on a seatbelt ticket. Same thing. So she's convicted of that seatbelt ticket. You didn't wear your seatbelt, cool.
You're a
The
criminal.
town's gonna get somewhere in the realm of about $4
Wow.
for that citation.
Max, and that's on a guilty conviction.
Yeah, that is on a
Right.
100% guilty conviction. Now, in that $4 that we get back, that again, they're called officer fees from the court. It's like I said, it's somewhere right around the $4 range. Like I said, that's to supply us with our fuel that we all use. I was in our patrol cars, patrolling our neighborhood, stopping the cars, whatever it is. The equipment in our cars, the insurance in our cars, the pay for these guys, whatever it is, $4. Some states, or no state has a quota by any means. You hear that, oh, well, they're just trying to fill their quota.
No.
That is not legal, okay? We have performance matrices, obviously. So, I'm gonna use Derek at this point. Derek, hey man, you're not getting out stopping more cars. Well, we're not getting anything for him stopping more cars, right? Because in the event he writes 10 more tickets this month, if any of those get a guilty plea, we're gonna get, like I said, maybe $4. But it's a performance aspect for us, okay? Obviously, we all try to be active. These guys are here, they're on the streets every single day doing the Lord's work, if you will, riding through our neighborhoods, being seen, stopping the cars. Myself and Derek, we get out and do that, but we have a lot more clerical things to do. Again, I have a stack of tickets in my car right now that I've written last week I've got to turn in. We still get out and do it, but like I said, these guys are here, our bread and butter when it comes to that. So, but back to her, what she was saying was I wish we got 75%, because again, if a seatbelt ticket is $188, $198, we'll call it $200, we got 75% of that. That would give us a lot more incentive to go out here and write more tickets, right?
$150.
So that $175 or 75 tickets we write a month, it may jump up a lot if it were something like that. Obviously, we don't operate like that, but there's really no benefit for us to really get out here and write tickets outside of just enforcing the law.
That's my point.
That's what
That's
we
my point.
do. That's what we were paid to do. Whether it's a breaking and entering, a speeding, whatever it might be. That's part of what we do.
If you do unfortunately find yourself on the receiving end of the citation, whenever you go to pay it, if you pay it in person at the clerk's office, they will print you a receipt. It's about this long, believe it or
Tell
not.
us how you know.
That's a long story too. A big stack of paper there from my younger years. Anyway, they'll print you a receipt paper about this long, and it will go line by line to tell you exactly where every single penny of your money that you paid for your guilty citation went. You'd be amazed where some of it goes. Some of it goes to
Yeah,
school.
show us your receipt.
I never got any.
Some of
Remember,
it
I
goes
was
to
wearing a
school.
police officer.
Some of it goes to different divisions and branches within the courthouse, and then, $2 to $4 goes to the actual township. We never actually see it at all.
It's not like he gets a bonus
No,
or anything.
but I want people to understand, it's like, you're not out there writing tickets so we get rich.
We're not padding our pockets.
This
Right.
this is completely new to me. I didn't know none of this.
We're learning tonight.
Yeah.
What's a ticket book cost?
It's nothing from us.
Well, does somebody give it to you? I mean, the state?
Yes, the state.
We'll go to the clerk of court's office and say, hey, we need ticket books. They'll give us a stack of them.
We turn our old ones in.
Yeah, we have to turn our old ones in as like receipts, obviously, because we have to document every citation that has been written.
Yep.
They take that and they give us one in return.
Okay, so
And
it's
so-
not costing. the
Not
village.
us directly, obviously, we all pay our taxes,
Yeah.
and that goes from
We
the
all pay
state.
for it somewhere.
So, yeah, we're ponying up somehow, but yes. Yep, that's exactly right. Nothing is free, and the state will take every bit of it that they can. Tell me how I feel about taxes. But yes.
So if you pull me over, can I just give you 5 to go away in a sense?
No, that's
You'll actually make an
That's
extra
not
dollar.
extortion.
Yeah.
That's bribery.
No, you're gonna make an extra $1. The
Oh,
village.
But
not
then you gotta give it to the village clerk.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
That is a felony.
The
But out of
point
all
being
the
is,
months and months of
I'll
writing
put it
tickets,
in an envelope to the
he's got
village
like,
clerk.
There
he's
you
got
go.
like an $8 one-time thing. It's like, hey, this is for everything.
But
So-
again, I was trying to make the
Yes.
point that you're not out there earning big bucks for the village or
That's
yourselves.
exactly
You're doing it because
Mhm.
you're following the law
That's
and
right.
stopping people
That's
for
exactly right.
an offense.
No matter what it is.
Right.
And like I said, I don't know if any of you folks have had a citation or anything, there's always a fine that's incurred. There's always court costs that's incurred. Again, the fine is $25, but you have to pay $147 in court costs.
Yep.
Well, the fine's only $25. Why wouldn't I just have to pay that? Oh, no. The court's gotta take their piece of the pie.
Yep.
And like I said, that $3 or $4, whatever it is, may come back to us, but it's
Chances
dropping
are
a
it
bucket
won't.
compared to what you paid.
Say you find somebody, either Richmond or Hoffman,
Mm-hmm.
a drug running car. You impound that car.
Yes.
Of course, it's gonna take time.
Mhm.
What does the village recoup from that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
So the way it kind of works, and again, North Carolina's kind of an odd thing. Other states do things differently. So, not to toot my own horn here, I have a lot of extensive history in drug work. Okay, again, I worked drugs for many years, worked a lot of federal cases and such. Only time that we were able to reap any type of benefit from that car or whatever was on a federal level. So, for example, and I'm just going to use a generic thing, a kilogram of cocaine. I stop, you're riding around and we seize your car. The state takes it and they do whatever they do with it. They're going to sell it at this auction house. We won't see any bit of that. Okay. All of it goes to where? North Carolina General Education Fund.
Oh, interesting.
Just like our lottery. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
all that money goes to them. But I will say this is, and again, I'm going to use a kilogram of cocaine just because it's argument's sake, but on that you will be taxed to the Department of Revenue, and we do get a piece of that pie. And again, I don't know the exact number or whatever it is, but if the tax man, that's what we always call them, the tax man comes out with the tax warrant, they're gonna come knock on your door and say, hey, we're here to get whatever. And I'm just gonna use a number. Your tax bill is $5,000. It's either you pay today or we start seizing assets. Well, once they seize an asset, they're gonna sell it off. Again, the form is called a BD4, it's the tax form. We fill it out, we get a portion of that money, okay? We don't get all of that money, obviously, because everybody got a hand in the pot, but that's the only time we'll get something. So again, if we just stop a random car out here, we get anything out of it, the town does not see anything for that. Yeah, it is ridiculous, you are 100% correct.
Yes, it is.
Because if you look on the charges, like his other cases he's talking about, the victim is state of North Carolina.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, again, the state's the state. We all have our own gripes with all that stuff. But during all of that, like I said, they are going to take whatever they can, and they're going to give us our little piece of something if they're able to give it to us. But the town will incur a lot of the cost.
Yep.
And again, that car that's up here, we have called those folks half a dozen times at least. I've called the victim. I've called the agency who wrote it all up. Nobody will call me back. So meanwhile, that car's been sitting out here for 3 years collecting algae and mold and God only knows what else. And we're responsible for it until either it gets awarded to the state, which that's not happening because again I've talked to the DA's office, or the victim comes and gets it.
That's crazy.
But there's nothing we can do about it.
No. We have to hold that vehicle.
Has to stay in our custody.
Yeah, and then we're paying for it.
Yeah, and then we're paying.
So,
Wow.
like I said, there's a lot of weird things that happen, I will say that, but it's not a direct impact, if you will, on us, outside of us just out here doing our jobs. And again, my hat's off to all these guys up here. They come in, they give us an honest day. And I couldn't ask for a better set of guys to surround us. So,
You guys do a good job.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
No, Don? Do what?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's out there too.
I'll bring it to your house tomorrow.
I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Anybody ever have anybody they worked with they didn't like?
Yeah.
Yeah? Y'all can have it, we don't have that.
But I thank you all for coming.
Thanks to you
I
guys.
appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come in and have our Q&A. This is something that we're gonna try to run with every year. Obviously, I know we had one last May, we're a little bit later in this year. But we felt, like I said, this time of the year is probably best with holidays and such coming up. Kind of just passes the word and kind of keeps stuff fresh in our minds. But like I said, again, we openly appreciate everybody here and their support.
And I'm
It's
sorry we
great.
didn't get that out to the websites in time.
It is not a problem.
It, like, went right over
Yeah.
everyone's head at
Stuff
POA.
happens. Like I said, stuff happens. It's not a big deal, but obviously, it is recorded here, and anybody that wants to watch it, it can be watched. But we always have an open door here. If you guys have a single issue, question, comment, concern, complaint, gripe, whatever, by all means, come knock on that door, call that cell phone, email us, whatever it takes. We'd be more than happy to sit down and have a heart-to-heart about whatever it is.
If anybody needs a card, the card I'm giving out is my card. It lists the office number and the cell phone number, and like you said earlier, that cell phone is always on us at all times. And then this is my card, so it's gonna have my email on it. And feel free to email me with any
Okay.
complaints or anything like that.
Is it your email, your police?
Yes,
email?
ma'am.
I mean, but your cell phone, is it your cell phone?
So
or-
this is that
The
phone
department-
book here.
this is the
It goes
department.
from man to man.
Thank you,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted.
Would you like one?
Yes, please.
Who else needs one?
You know what, you need to leave some of
Actually,
those in the,
can I have one?
where we keep our.
Just a couple of things
Yeah, we're
my
gonna get
neighbors
new
is
one
great,
made.
thank
We'll
you.
put mine on my refrigerator.
Can I put this on my website?
Well,
.gov.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll say about
I don't wanna give it out just yet, and people are
No, that's
asking.
fine, that's fine. You know what, when you do that, when you get the.
I got all
That
of them.
email,
Yeah, I'll take
probably
it.
know what
Watch
I'm
out.
thinking.
I'll talk to you
They're
about it.
talking about getting that.
Well, thank